The first food that can reliably pull the plug on this alarm system comes straight from the cold water. We are talking about fatty sea fish like salmon, mackerel, herring, and sardines. These are the absolute best sources for two very specific building blocks known as EPA and DHA, which are the active, highly potent forms of omega-3 fatty acids. Many people have heard of omega-3, but very few understand how remarkably powerful it really is. In our modern diet, we have a massive, dangerous imbalance. We consume way too much omega-6, which is hidden in industrial seed oils, soybean oil, and almost every processed snack on the shelf. When you have too much omega-6 in your system, it acts exactly like pumping pure oxygen into a room that is already on fire. It accelerates the inflammation. Omega-3, on the other hand, is your biological cooling system. When you eat fatty sea fish, your body takes these specific fatty acids and builds them directly into your cell walls. Once they are there, they act like a wet blanket, suffocating the inflammatory signals. For those who do not eat fish, you do not have to miss out. Algae oil is a phenomenal alternative, because algae is actually the original source where the fish get their omega-3 in the first place. Moving on to the second weapon on our list. It is small, it looks unassuming, but it is packed with a protective shield for your cells. I am talking about dark berries, specifically wild blueberries, blackberries, and black currants. The deep purple and dark blue colors of these fruits are not a coincidence. That color comes from compounds called anthocyanins, which are some of the most powerful antioxidants found in nature. To understand how they work, you have to realize that every time there is a fire or an inflammation in your body, it creates sparks. In biology, we call these sparks free radicals. They are aggressive molecules that fly around and damage your healthy cells. The anthocyanins in dark berries act like a layer of fireproof paint. They catch these dangerous sparks and neutralize them before they can burn your healthy tissues. Now we arrive at the third food, and this one is crucial because it fixes the root cause of the problem. As we mentioned earlier, your body is a fortress, and your gut is the main security gate. When we eat processed garbage, that gate gets broken and cracked, a condition known as leaky gut. This allows toxins to flood into your bloodstream, starting fires everywhere. To rebuild that gate, we need bone broth. This might sound old-fashioned to some, but biologically speaking, it is pure liquid gold. When bones from beef or chicken are simmered slowly for 12 to 24 hours, they release massive amounts of collagen, gelatin, and an amino acid called glutamine. The gelatin in this rich broth acts exactly like a biological cement. It glides over the irritated lining of your gut, patching up the cracks and sealing the microscopic holes. Once that security gate is sealed shut again, the toxins stop leaking, and your immune system can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Our fourth food is an absolute master at cleaning up the aftermath of the fire. We are looking at cruciferous vegetables, with broccoli being the undisputed king. But it is not just the green vegetable itself. It is a very specific potent compound trapped inside called sulforaphane. After a fire is put out, your house is filled with toxic smoke and ash. Sulforaphane clears this out by activating the detoxifying enzymes in your liver. It turns your liver into a massive, high-powered ventilation system, filtering all the inflammatory waste out of your blood. But here is a survival tip for your kitchen. To actually get this powerful compound, the broccoli must be chopped or chewed thoroughly. If you sprinkle a tiny bit of mustard seed powder on it, you will multiply your body's ability to absorb this compound by a huge margin. Finally, we have the fifth food. It is technically a spice, but its effects can rival some pharmaceutical anti-inflammatory drugs. It is turmeric, and its active compound is called curcumin. Inside your cells, there is a molecule called NF-kappa B. Think of this molecule as the master breaker switch that pumps fuel into the fire. Whenever this switch is flipped on, your cells endlessly produce inflammatory chemicals. Curcumin steps in, takes control, and forcefully pulls that breaker switch down, cutting the power to the fire at its source. But curcumin has a flaw. It is very hard for your body to absorb on its own. To unlock its power, you must combine it with a pinch of black pepper and a healthy fat, like coconut oil or olive oil. Doing this boosts your absorption by a staggering 2,000%. Health is not a lottery ticket. Healing is not about punishing yourself with strict diets. It is simply about stopping the arsonist and handing your body the right biological tools to rebuild the fortress. Chapter Summary. This chapter explored the concept of silent inflammation, comparing it to a hidden fire inside the body caused by poor dietary choices. It detailed 5 specific foods that act as biological fire extinguishers: fatty fish or algae oil for omega-3 cooling, dark berries for antioxidant protection against free radicals, bone broth to seal a leaky gut barrier, broccoli to activate liver detoxification, and turmeric with black pepper to turn off the cellular inflammation switch. By incorporating these foods, the body is empowered to heal and regulate its immune response naturally. Gemini said, "Welcome back to the fortress. In our last chapter, we brought in the heavy biological artillery. We deployed the fire extinguishers, patched up the security gates, and cleared out the toxic smoke. But here is the harsh reality. None of those powerful tools will save your house if someone is still quietly sneaking around the back door, pouring fresh gasoline onto the embers every few hours. That gasoline has a name. It is called refined carbohydrates. When you eat things like white bread, pasta, or sugary snacks, your digestive system rapidly breaks them down into pure glucose. This triggers a massive spike in your blood sugar. To handle this emergency, your pancreas pumps out a hormone called insulin. Now, while insulin is trying to clear the sugar out of your blood, this drastic roller coaster creates massive oxidative stress. It is the biological equivalent of dropping a lit match into dry hay. Your immune system panics all over again, and the inflammatory fires roar back to life. If we want to shut down this fire permanently, we have to cut off the fuel supply. We need foods that give you massive amounts of energy, keep you feeling full and satisfied for hours, but have almost zero impact on your blood sugar. Here are the ultimate low-carbohydrate foods that will starve the fire while perfectly nourishing your body. Let us start with the incredible, humble egg. For decades, eggs were unfairly blamed for cholesterol issues, but the latest science has completely cleared their name. An egg is practically a miracle of nature. It contains almost zero carbohydrates, but it is packed with high-quality protein and essential healthy fats. When you eat eggs for breakfast instead of cereal or toast, your blood sugar stays perfectly flat. You feel full, your brain gets a massive dose of a nutrient called choline to keep you sharp, and the inflammatory fire gets absolutely no fuel. Next, we have the avocado. This is not just a trendy toast topping, it is a biological shield. Avocados are loaded with oleic acid, a very specific type of monounsaturated fat that actively reduces inflammation in the body. Furthermore, they are incredibly rich in fiber. When you combine high fat and high fiber with almost zero net carbohydrates, you get a food that turns off your hunger hormones for hours. You will not even crave the sugary snacks that usually start the fires. Our third weapon is liquid gold, extra virgin olive oil. This is a staple of the healthiest diets in the world for a reason. Real high-quality olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal. Scientists have discovered that oleocanthal works in the exact same biological pathway as over-the-counter pain medications like ibuprofen, but without any of the toxic side effects to your stomach or liver. Drizzling this generously over your meals adds zero carbs, makes your food taste amazing, and quietly puts out the inflammatory fires all day long. Now we need some volume to fill your stomach without spiking your sugar. Enter the dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard. These are essentially free foods when it comes to carbohydrates. You can eat a massive bowl of them, stretching your stomach so you feel physically full, but your blood sugar will not move an inch. They are also packed with magnesium, a mineral that directly calms down a stressed nervous system and relaxes your blood vessels. Finally, for that crucial crunchy texture we all crave, we turn to macadamia nuts and walnuts. Most people reach for potato chips when they want a crunch. That is pure inflammatory gasoline. Instead, a handful of these specific nuts gives you that satisfying snap. Walnuts bring a plant-based dose of those cooling omega-3 fats we talked about earlier, while macadamia nuts deliver pure, stable energy with virtually zero carbs. You do not have to starve to heal your body. You do not have to endure agonizing hunger to put out the fire. You simply have to stop feeding the flames. By replacing the carbohydrate gasoline with these rich, satisfying, zero-carb foods, you are not just surviving. You are taking complete control of your biology. You are giving your fortress exactly what it needs to stand strong, calm, and pain-free for the rest of your life. Gemini said, "So, we have secured the perimeter. You have deployed the biological fire extinguishers, and you have successfully cut off the gasoline supply by replacing refined carbohydrates with powerful, zero-fuel foods. The flames inside your fortress are finally starting to die down. The smoke is clearing. But there is one more crucial element we have to talk about. It is the invisible threat. You can have the most expensive fire extinguishers in the world. You can have a perfectly sealed gate. But if a hurricane-force wind is constantly blowing through your house, even the tiniest spark can turn into a raging inferno all over again. In the human body, that invisible wind is chronic stress and sleep deprivation. Let us look at what happens biologically when you are constantly stressed out by work, traffic, or the endless stream of bad news on your phone. Your brain cannot tell the difference between an overflowing email inbox and a literal, hungry tiger chasing you through the jungle. It reacts exactly the same way. It sounds the ultimate survival alarm and floods your system with a hormone called cortisol. In short bursts, cortisol is actually an anti-inflammatory. It is supposed to suppress your immune system just long enough for you to run away from the tiger. But here is the tragic problem of modern life. The tiger never leaves. You are stressed from the moment you wake up until the moment your head hits the pillow. Because the cortisol is constantly flowing, your security team eventually becomes completely deaf to it. This is called cortisol resistance. When the security guards can no longer hear the orders to calm down, they go rogue. The inflammation runs wild, completely unchecked, no matter how much broccoli or wild salmon you eat. And then comes the night. Sleep is not just a time when you do nothing. Sleep is the arrival of the elite night shift repair crew. When you fall into deep sleep, your brain literally flushes out toxic waste. Your cells rebuild their broken walls. Your immune system recalibrates, turning off the alarm bells and sweeping up the ash left behind by the daily fires. If you are only sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night, you are firing the repair crew before they even finish their shift. The ash builds up. The walls stay broken. The next morning, you wake up feeling like you are trapped in that clothes dryer again, running on pure adrenaline and desperation. We have to calm the wind. And the beautiful thing is, you have the power to do it right now, without spending a single dime. It starts with your breath. When you take slow, deep breaths, extending your exhale so it is longer than your inhale, you are sending a physical, biological text message directly to your nervous system. You are telling it that the tiger is gone. You are safe. The fortress is secure. Just 5 minutes of deep breathing can immediately lower your heart rate and stop the cortisol flood. Next, you must fiercely protect your night shift. That means putting away the glowing screens at least an hour before bed. The blue light from your phone tricks your brain into thinking the sun is shining at midnight, completely halting the production of melatonin, the hormone that calls in the repair crew. Give yourself the gift of darkness, a cool room, and a quiet mind. Healing silent inflammation is not a quick fix. It is not a magical pill you take once a day. It is a fundamental shift in how you treat the only home you will ever live in. You now know exactly how to stop the arsonist. You know how to cool the fires with fatty fish, seal the gates with bone broth, and clean the air with dark berries and cruciferous vegetables. You know how to starve the flames by leaving the sugar behind. And most importantly, you know how to calm the invisible wind of stress. The warning lights on your dashboard do not have to blink forever. Your joints can move smoothly again. Your energy can return, bright and steady. You hold the blueprint to a calm, resilient, and unbreakable body. Now, it is time to start building. Gemini said, "The fire is finally out. The gasoline supply has been completely cut off. You have calmed the invisible wind, and your night shift repair crew is back to work. Silence has returned to your fortress." But if you look closely at the hallways of your body, you will notice something else. The battle might be over, but the battlefield is covered in debris. Years of silent inflammation have left behind cellular ash, dead inflammatory cells, and metabolic waste. If this toxic debris just sits there, it can slowly rot and spark a brand new fire. We have to sweep it out and throw it away. But here is the fascinating biological catch. The waste disposal system inside your body has a major design flaw. This network is called the lymphatic system. It is a vast series of tubes and nodes that run parallel to your blood vessels, specifically designed to vacuum up the inflammatory ash. You just sit on the couch all day. That toxic waste sits right there with you, stagnating in your tissues. There is only one way to turn the pump on, and that is muscular contraction. Movement. Every single time you take a brisk walk, every time you stretch your arms toward the ceiling, and every time you lift a weight, your muscles physically squeeze against those lymphatic tubes. You are literally pumping the toxic ash out of your tissues, forcing it into the liver and kidneys so it can be flushed down the drain forever. But movement does something even more magical than just taking out the trash. When your muscles contract, they do not just burn calories. They act like an endocrine organ. Working muscles release highly specialized molecules called myokines. Think of myokines as a swarm of microscopic, highly skilled repair drones. Once released into your bloodstream, these drones fly directly to the damaged areas of your fortress. They actively suppress leftover inflammation, rebuild broken bone density, and strengthen your immune system so it stops panicking. Now, do you need to go out and run a grueling marathon to get these benefits? Absolutely not. In fact, extreme, punishing workouts can sometimes mimic the tiger we talked about earlier. They can flood your body with cortisol and start a brand new stress fire. The secret to anti-inflammatory movement is consistency, not destruction. Just 30 minutes of brisk walking every day is enough to power the lymphatic pump. A gentle session of morning yoga wrings out your tissues like a wet sponge, squeezing out the stagnant waste. Simple resistance training, like lifting moderate weights a few times a week, is enough to release an army of those healing myokines. You are no longer a victim of your own biology. You are the architect. You started this journey waking up feeling broken, tired, and burning from the inside out. Now, you hold all the keys. You know how to feed the fortress to cool the flames. You know how to starve the fire by cutting out the sugar. You know how to calm the nervous system with your breath and protect your sleep. And now, you know how to pump the leftover debris out of your life through joyful daily movement. The warning lights on your dashboard have officially turned off. The engine is running smooth and clean. Step forward, take a deep breath, and enjoy living in a body that finally feels like home again. You have rebuilt the fortress. The fires are out. The air is clean, and your lymphatic pumps are actively sweeping the daily debris out of your tissues. You have done the hard work. But if we want to make this fortress truly unbreakable, if we want to ensure those inflammatory fires never spark again, we need to activate one final secret protocol hidden deep inside your DNA. We need to talk about what happens when the machinery inside your cells simply gets old. Even with the perfect diet and the perfect lifestyle, your cellular engines experience wear and tear. Over time, proteins misfold, mitochondria get damaged, and microscopic biological trash accumulates inside the cells themselves. If left alone, these old, rusty parts will eventually trigger a brand new inflammatory alarm. To clear this out, your body has an ancient, built-in recycling program. In biology, it is called autophagy. Translated from its ancient Greek roots, Autophagy literally means self-eating. Now, do not let that name scare you. It is actually the most beautiful, healing process your body is capable of performing. Imagine a highly elite crew of microscopic inspectors living inside your fortress. When you are constantly eating, from your breakfast the moment you wake up, to your snacks throughout the day, all the way to your late-night dessert, your body is entirely focused on digestion. Processing food takes a massive amount of energy. As long as food is coming in, the elite inspectors are fast asleep. Your body is in a constant state of building and storing, but never cleaning. But something miraculous happens when you simply stop eating. When you give your digestive system a break for 12, 14, or 16 hours, a profound biological switch flips. Because there is no new food to process, your body suddenly has excess energy. The elite inspectors wake up. They begin to patrol the deepest corridors of your cells. They actively hunt down the damaged proteins, the rusty cellular gears, and the old inflammatory waste. But they do not just sweep it out. They throw this cellular garbage into a biological incinerator, burning it for pure energy. Then, they take the leftover raw materials and use them to build brand new, perfectly functioning, highly efficient cellular engines. You are literally breaking down your oldest, sickest parts to build a younger, stronger version of yourself. Activating this superpower does not cost a single penny, and it does not require a complicated medical procedure. It is called intermittent fasting, or simply, time-restricted eating. It is as easy as closing your kitchen after dinner. If you finish your last meal in the early evening and simply drink water or herbal tea until breakfast the next morning, you are giving your fortress a 12 to 14-hour window of total emptiness. In that quiet emptiness, the deep healing begins. Your insulin levels drop flat. Your immune system resets. The microscopic inspectors go to work, scrubbing the walls of your cells until they shine. Healing is not always about adding more things to your life. It is not always about buying another supplement or forcing down another superfood. Sometimes, the most powerful medicine in the world is simply the absence of anything. It is the space, the silence, and the rest you give your biology. You now possess the complete blueprint. You have the anti-inflammatory foods to cool the flames. You have cut off the sugary fuel. You know how to breathe through the stress and protect your sleep. You know how to pump out the waste with movement, and you now know how to deep clean your cells through the power of resting your digestion. The war is over. The silent inflammation has been completely defeated. Your body is no longer a burning house. It is a fortress of health, resilience, and boundless energy. Welcome home. You have the blueprint. You understand the science. You know exactly how the biological fire starts, and more importantly, you know exactly how to put it out. The theory is complete. But as you stand in the quiet halls of your newly secured fortress, a very practical question remains. How do you actually live this out? When you wake up tomorrow morning, what is the very first thing you should do? Knowledge without action is just a rumor. To make this healing permanent, we have to translate this profound biological science into a simple, unbreakable daily routine. Let us map out the first 24 hours of your new life. It starts the moment you open your eyes. When you wake up, do not immediately reach for your phone. Remember the invisible wind of stress. Reading emails or looking at the news floods your brain with cortisol before your feet even touch the floor. Instead, give yourself 10 minutes of peace. Take 5 deep, slow breaths. Tell your nervous system that the tiger is not here. Next, walk into the kitchen, but do not open the refrigerator. The elite night shift inspectors are still deep cleaning your cells through autophagy. Let them finish their work. Instead, drink a large glass of warm water. Your body has just spent the last 8 hours repairing the fortress, and it is deeply dehydrated. Now, step outside. This is a crucial, hidden secret of human biology. Let the natural morning sunlight hit your eyes for just 5 to 10 minutes. This light sends a powerful signal to the master clock in your brain, shutting down sleep hormones and setting a perfectly timed alarm for the melatonin to return later tonight. As the morning progresses, do some light stretching. Reach your arms high. Twist your torso. You are physically turning on the passive lymphatic pump, sweeping the metabolic ash from last night out of your tissues. When lunchtime arrives, or whenever you feel true physical hunger, it is time to break your fast. You want to open the gates gently. A warm cup of bone broth is the perfect first step, laying down a fresh layer of biological cement over your gut lining. Follow this with a simple meal of high-quality protein and healthy fats. Think of scrambled eggs or an avocado. You are giving your body pure, stable energy with zero carbohydrate gasoline. Your blood sugar stays perfectly flat. The fire remains extinguished. In the late afternoon, when most people experience a massive energy crash, you will feel a steady, bright focus. This is the perfect time for your 30-minute brisk walk. Let your muscles release those healing myokines. Let the repair drones flood your system. Finally, the sun goes down, and it is time for dinner. This is where you deploy the heavy artillery. A beautiful piece of fatty wild salmon. A generous side of broccoli, chopped thoroughly and drizzled with rich olive oil. A warming cup of golden turmeric milk, spiced with black pepper. You are feeding your cells the ultimate anti-inflammatory medicine. When dinner is finished, the most important step of the day happens. You wash your dishes, you turn off the kitchen lights, and you firmly close the door. No late-night snacks. The eating window is closed. You dim the lights in your living room, protecting your night shift repair crew. You lay your head on the pillow, knowing that as you sleep, your body will safely and quietly heal itself. This is not a diet. It is a daily rhythm. It is a powerful, intentional way of existing in the modern world. You do not have to be perfect every single day, but every time you choose this rhythm, you are choosing health. You are choosing vitality. You are choosing to rebuild the fortress. The journey of healing silent inflammation is officially in your hands. Now, it is your turn to live it. Gemini said. So, you wake up tomorrow and begin your new routine. You drink your warm water, you step into the morning light, and you feed your body the cooling, healing foods it has been begging for. You are doing everything right. But here's a truth that very few people will tell you about the journey of healing. It is not a perfectly straight line, and it does not happen overnight. You have to remember that those silent fires have been burning inside your fortress for years, maybe even decades. When you finally cut off the sugary gasoline and bring in the biological fire extinguishers, your body goes through a profound transition. We need to talk about exactly what you can expect in the days and weeks ahead, so you do not panic and give up just before the miracle happens. In the first 3 to 5 days, you might actually feel a little tired. You might get a mild headache. This is entirely normal. Your body is going through withdrawal. It is searching for that cheap, easy sugar fuel it is so used to burning. Meanwhile, the inflammatory fires are smoldering, fighting to stay alive. Your elite repair crew is working overtime, and that takes energy. During this first week, give yourself permission to rest, drink plenty of water, and trust the process. Then comes week 2. This is when the heavy smoke finally starts to clear. Somewhere between the 2nd and 4th week, you will wake up one morning and notice something strange. The heavy, invisible blanket of brain fog that you thought was just a normal part of getting older has completely vanished. Your thoughts are sharp. You will step out of bed and realize your knees and lower back do not ache the way they used to. The excess water weight, which was actually just massive cellular swelling from the inflammation, begins to drain away. The security guards inside your immune system have finally put their weapons down and gone to sleep. By month 3, you are no longer just putting out fires. You are upgrading the entire fortress. The walls of your gut are sealed tight. Your liver is a highly efficient filtration engine. Your skin, which is a direct reflection of your internal inflammation, will start to glow with real, vibrant health. You will find yourself naturally waking up 5 minutes before your alarm clock goes off, filled with a steady, quiet energy that lasts until sunset. You have established a brand new baseline, for what it feels like to be alive. But what happens when life inevitably gets in the way? What happens when it is your best friend's birthday and you eat a massive slice of chocolate cake? What happens when a crisis at work keeps you awake until 3 in the morning, flooded with stress and cortisol? Do you lose all your progress? Does the fortress instantly burn to the ground? Absolutely not. When you spend months building a resilient, unbreakable body, one single match cannot burn down a stone castle. A healthy, well-defended body can handle a sudden spike in sugar or a sleepless night. Your lymphatic pumps will simply clear the debris the next day. Your antioxidant reserves will neutralize the sparks. The secret to lifelong health is not rigid perfection. It is resilience. If you stumble, if you eat the inflammatory foods or skip your sleep, you do not punish yourself. You do not feel guilty. You simply wake up the very next morning, take a deep breath, and step right back into your healing routine. You pour the warm water. You get your morning sunlight. You bring the cooling foods back to your plate. You now have a compass that will guide you for the rest of your life. You know the way back to health, no matter how far you wander off the path. The fire is out. The foundation is strong. The rest of your life is waiting for you, and it is going to be beautiful. Gemini said, "You have reached the end of the blueprint. The walls of your fortress are strong. The fires are completely extinguished, the debris is cleared, and your cellular engines are running with quiet, brilliant efficiency." But as we close this journey, there is one final, profound question we have to answer. Why did we do all of this? We did not spend all this time learning about omega-3 fats, bone broth, and lymphatic pumps, just so you can obsess over every single thing you put on your plate. We did not rebuild your immune system just so you can live in fear of the modern world. Health is not the ultimate destination. Health is simply the vehicle that allows you to reach your true destination. Think about what it actually means to live without the heavy, exhausting background noise of silent inflammation. It means waking up on a Saturday morning and not having to calculate how much your knees are going to hurt when you step out of bed. It means getting down on the floor to play with your children or your grandchildren and being able to stand right back up without letting out a groan of pain. It means having the bright, steady energy to pursue a passion, start a new project, or simply take a long, beautiful walk at 5 in the evening instead of collapsing onto the couch in total exhaustion. When your biology is no longer desperately fighting a war on the inside, all of that massive energy is suddenly handed back to you. You get to use it to create, to love, to explore, and to truly experience your life. For far too long, you might have believed that getting older meant automatically falling apart. You might have been told that the creeping pain, the brain fog, and the exhaustion were just your new normal. But now you know the truth. Your body is not a fragile machine destined to break. It is the most advanced, brilliant, and resilient healing system in the entire universe. It was never broken. It was just crying out for the right building materials, the right environment, and a little bit of rest. You now hold the keys to your own biology. You are no longer a passenger. You are the architect of your own vitality. Take this knowledge, apply it gently but consistently to your daily life, and once your fortress is standing tall, do not keep this a secret. Share this blueprint with someone you love who is quietly suffering, someone who thinks their pain is permanent. Help them put out their fires too. The heavy doors of your fortress are now open, not to let the enemies in, but to let you step out into the world, completely free. Thank you for taking this incredible journey to heal yourself. Your new life is waiting. Now go live it.